Every single human being on this planet is searching for something. Beneath every ambition you have, every dream, every sacrifice, and every decision, there lies this surprisingly simple desire to be happy. I know, it sounds almost too obvious. Yet, as we'll explore in this explainer, perhaps no goal has shaped human history more profoundly than this one. We literally build entire civilizations around it, philosophers debate it endlessly, and modern society constantly monetizes it.
We're always chasing something, right? We chase achievement, hoping it's going to finally validate us. We chase love, wealth, recognition, breathtaking experiences, and profound purpose. We treat all of these things like milestones. A recent graduate deeply believes happiness exists right after they get employed. A young professional believes it exists right after they hit financial success. The destination constantly changes, but that overwhelming treadmill of human desire, it stays exactly the same. We are just constantly running.
But then, we hit this reality. Have you ever finally gotten exactly what you wanted, and you're just sitting there in a quiet room, and you feel this lingering sense that true fulfillment is still just out of reach? It's not necessarily suffering, and it's not really sadness either. It's simply an unsettling, quiet sense that happiness remains somewhere beyond the next milestone, the next purchase, the next version of yourself.
So what does this all mean? It brings us to a highly uncomfortable question. If happiness is what humans want most, why does it seem so incredibly difficult to keep? What if our dissatisfaction isn't a personal failure at all? What if it's actually an evolutionary feature? Modern psychology reveals a deeply fascinating and honestly somewhat strange story about our minds. As it turns out, we are designed to pursue rather than to possess.
Part 1. The biological engine uncovering the dopamine illusion. To really grasp this perpetual dissatisfaction, we need to look under the hood at our biological programming, shifting the blame away from our daily choices and placing it directly onto the neuroscience of desire.
Think about the last thing you absolutely desperately wanted. Maybe it was a new phone, a dream job, or a specific relationship. It all starts with desire, which generates intense anticipation. That anticipation, that creates dopamine. And dopamine creates the motivation to actually take action. But here's the catch. The brain is built for constant movement, not arrival. Once that reward finally arrives, the cycle immediately resets and begins searching for a brand new target.
There is this incredible quote: "The brain frequently rewards pursuit more intensely than possession." This biological truth perfectly explains that bizarre emptiness we feel after spending years literally obsessing over a massive goal, only to finally achieve it and feel, well, nothing. You get a brief moment of relief, and then the emotional intensity just fades away. Your psychological system was simply built for the hunt.
Part 2. The escalation of normalcy, the burden of success. Let's see how this biological loop actually plays out in our everyday lives, continuously pushing the finish line further and further away. This adaptation happens across your entire lifespan. You spend years grinding toward graduation, then months securing employment, then years fighting for a promotion. You imagine crossing this magical psychological border where uncertainty disappears forever. But reality is rarely that dramatic, is it? Humans adapt with remarkable speed. The extraordinary, seamlessly and silently, becomes ordinary.
And that leads us to this incredibly stark realization. You can change your city, your job, your income, and your social status, but you bring yourself with you. You bring your fears, your insecurities, your emotional habits, and your unanswered questions. Success completely changes your external circumstances, sure, but it does absolutely nothing to automatically transform your internal experience.
Part 3. The modern happiness trap. Now, as if our own biology wasn't tricky enough to navigate, we are currently living in an environment that's literally designed to exploit it.
We're living in one of the greatest paradoxes of our time. Never before have humans been so digitally connected, yet so incredibly emotionally disconnected. We are confusing attention with connection. A person might receive hundreds of notifications in a day, yet still feel completely unseen. The overwhelming digital noise of modern life simply cannot replace our ancient, deeply human need for true emotional belonging.
Modern life is just filled with these subconscious traps. We're constantly exposed to endless comparisons and other people's highlight reels. Constant stimulation makes silence feel uncomfortable, and waiting absolutely intolerable. You can literally be scrolling through your phone and go from total contentment to bitter dissatisfaction in a matter of minutes. Not because your actual life changed, but because your perception of it was manipulated. Today, your attention is the most heavily contested resource in society.
Part 4. The antidote, the search for meaning. So how do we actually escape this? Well, we have to pivot from these modern traps of fleeting pleasure to a much deeper psychological anchor, an anchor that actually sustains us.
The absolutely crucial point here is understanding this exact distinction. Pleasure feels good, right? It satisfies the immediate moment. But meaning feels important. It organizes an entire life. This perfectly explains why some people appear so emotionally alive despite facing enormous life challenges, while others feel entirely empty inside total comfort.
Meaning gives our suffering context. Without context, discomfort just feels completely pointless. But with context, it becomes part of a larger, profound story. This is exactly why true fulfillment isn't about avoiding pain. It's why parents willingly sacrifice their sleep for a newborn. It's why athletes push their bodies way past their physical limits. They're enduring discomfort because the experience, while not always pleasant, is deeply, deeply fulfilling.
Which brings us to the ultimate confrontation. Are you chasing happiness directly? Because the greatest irony in all of human psychology is the happiness paradox. The harder you obsessively try to capture happiness, the more elusive it becomes. It literally cannot be directly optimized.
Instead, happiness is really just a byproduct. It's a consequence, a side effect. It shows up completely naturally when we engage in unoptimizable moments, building deep relationships, creating something genuinely valuable, contributing to the people around us, and experiencing true presence. Happiness kind of just sneaks up on you while you're busy doing things that matter.
And when it does arrive, we have to remember this fundamental truth. Happiness is temporary. It's like the seasons. It's like the weather. It arrives, it leaves, and it returns. The actual root of our suffering isn't that happiness fades, it's our stubborn, unrealistic expectation that it should remain forever.
I want to leave you with this final, slightly unsettling but deeply comforting thought. Maybe happiness was never waiting at the finish line at all. If fulfillment is naturally imperfect and uncertainty never truly disappears, then what if the goal was never to build a perfect life? What if the goal was simply to be fully present inside an imperfect one? As we conclude this explainer, I really hope this slight shift in perspective changes how you view your own pursuit